This week we watched The Thursday Murder Club, directed by Chris Columbus.
I enjoyed it. It was really delightful. I watched it with some friends. One of them was actually reading the book. Um, but yeah, it was delightful. This is something I didn't expect from Netflix. Performances are amazing. Of course, you got Helen Mirren and Pierce Brosnan banking. So these were like top flight actors, award winners, Richard E. Grant, even Naomi Ackie, Tom Ellis, the stuff character work he's done with Lucifer and stuff over here in the States. Of course you got long list. Like there's like a who's who of of acting, and David Tennant's in there and stuff like that. Yeah, like I was expecting this not to be a movie, like because it gives the vibe off that this should be like a serial project. So hopefully Netflix goes forward and actually decides, we got something on our hands, with fan favorite actors. Like these actors all cross like generational boundaries as far as as far as people who enjoy them. So I would love to see them turn this into a series because it was very enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, it was really sweet. It's just like a wholesome, like fun movie, I think. Also, I like seeing older people in movies, and I feel like we don't always get to see that.
Hmm.
And I like that it's older people who aren't like playing someone's like mom or whatever, but like they are central to the story and it's about them and their lives. And I thought that was really great. And also like hit on some social commentary stuff, you know, about like where we like the places where the elderly live and how development and all that stuff ends up impacting our most vulnerable, which was a huge thing that I think that they talked about. They talked about like immigration a little bit. I don't know how if I love how that storyline was handled, however, but they did bring it up. I think that Helen Mirren is like she will always be working until the day that she decides that she doesn't want to do it anymore. Like she will always have a role booked.
Yeah.
Like this woman is always booked and busy. And good for her. Like their roles will never end for you. Go off. And I think they made like a little what is it, breaking the fourth wall joke about her playing the queen because she looked like the queen in one of the characters she was putting on to like get information. And it's like, yeah, she played the queen.
Yeah.
So it was like a little, and maybe there were other jokes that I missed because it might have been just for like a British audience. So like
Hmm.
there were there I feel like there was stuff in there that I didn't get. But overall, I did think it was like really funny. I thought it was well written. It had like a certain charm about it. The fact that Chris Columbus directed it makes so much sense because like it has that, and it's like a Steven Spielberg produced movie. It's like it has that like I don't know, almost like back in the like nostalgic quality of just like people working together and getting the job done and like everything's okay after that. Like it has that kind of quality to it.
Naomi Ackie's like a wonderful character actor and all the stuff she's done. She's always able like Mickey 17, Sorry Baby, I Used to Be
That's the
Famous.
one. Yeah, I
Like
was like,
she's a wonderful character actress, like as far as she's like is able to be really animated, even if the role is very serious, like we saw her on this last Star Wars movie, I think. But yeah, she's an amazing actress.
one thing that I love about like watching British anything, whether it's film or television,
Hmm.
is that it seems like a lot of these actors came up like in the same they either went to theater school together or they were doing plays together. So like everyone kind of knows each other, even if they haven't worked together before. So it to me seems kind of easier actually to just pull together like a group of actors and be like, okay, you guys have known each other for a while, like you're friends and you're a part of this club. Because in reality, like I'm sure all of them have worked together or they all know each other
Yeah.
and they have known each other for many years. So like the chemistry would already kind of be there. So that's kind of the benefit of like watching British actors is that like it's always kind of just there unless they're like newer actors, but I feel like for the established ones like these people know each other because it's like such a small place and it seems like a very small community versus
Hmm.
Hollywood. I think it's a very like close-knit community of actors
Yeah.
that live in like London or wherever. So it's always fun watching that. Also, Who doesn't love a British murder mystery? I
Yeah.
loved them.
Yeah.
I think they're great.
Like this movie was full of red herrings and stuff like that. Um, you were wondering where it was going to go, and then also they started out with that case you mentioned, and they closed with it. Everything still like that was their bookend that introduced us to the characters, and at the end they still solved that initial, you know, mystery and whatnot.
I will say that the only issue I had with this movie was the Polish man. The Polish man who ends up killing the first guy who gets murdered
Unintentionally, yeah.
unintentionally. It seemed like they were sort of handling it well until the end when he confesses and he's like, "Yeah, I accidentally killed him."
Mhm.
And they were like, "Well, we still gotta report you to the police. Sorry.
Yeah,
Like, I know that you have no passport and your mother is dying, and like, you literally just came over here to get some work just to help her out.
yeah,
You gotta go to jail still. Sorry." And
yeah.
like, y'all are kind of crusty for that. Like, I would have been like, "Oh, well, that was unfortunate. I didn't hear nothing. Go about your life."
But and honestly, and that's the one of the things in real life that sadly happens. You have these people of power. You have a known business person in the area who is tied up with, a major crime boss in there who are illegally importing undocumented people into England. It happens here too,
Hmm.
for being honest. Like a large portion of the farmers and stuff, or people who work in stores or restaurants tend to be of, immigrants. I remember in high school working in a restaurant, all of a sudden, like me and all my other friends had lost hours because you know the manager decided to hire a lot of Mexican people and was paying them less. Like
Mm.
so all our hours got wiped away, but she still kept them on, she kept them on payroll because they could take less than minimum wage. But them, bringing people from Poland into England and whatnot and taking their passports, you have the main, the financier is well known. Then you have, the boxer, one of the guy's son kind of being
Hmm.
tangled with it, being a former strongman for them as a boxing champion. You have two people in organized crime working with them. It's a thing that actually happens in real life, where people are stuck and they have no other way. It's always the people with money who can kind of get away with it. This man is from Poland, has no passport, but he suffers the most.
Yeah.
And the other two get away. Like even the ending where Helen Mirren agrees, "Oh, I won't tell anybody about your new established identity and your gardening shop as long as you sell, my retirement home to
Hmm.
somebody I want you to. Like it benefits me now, that kind of thing."
Yeah, which is real again, like I said, crusty, messed up because it's like she was willing to help this criminal, but she wasn't willing to help this Polish immigrant who
Yeah,
didn't have many choices. Literally, the only reason why that man died is because he was trying to get his passport back.
yeah,
Like, that's my thing. That's why I didn't really like that storyline because I felt like what it explored was really truthful to to what's happening not only in the UK but here too, and I'm sure
yeah.
other countries as well. But the way that it ended, I was just like, that's messed up.
Yeah. The last 10 minutes fall apart.
Yeah, I
Like
didn't like
because
that.
of that. And you would think being a former like MI6 agent,
Hmm.
known for hunting guys like, Richard Grant's character, she would still turn him in. Nope. Hey, don't close my retirement home. Sell
Hmm.
somebody else instead. That kind of thing, which really rubbed me the wrong way.
It rubs me the wrong
And then she
way.
and then it's also the nature of her character being a MI6 agent, where she kept secrets from everybody. She doesn't tell Naomi Aki's character
Right.
about this. She doesn't tell her friends about this. She doesn't even tell her friends or what Ron, like Pierce Brosnan's character, that his son was potentially involved with, these bad people, that kind of thing.
Hmm. Exactly. So again, that's the whole being in law enforcement thing. That's it. It I feel like it kind of skews whatever like social commentary you're trying to make in a more progressive way because there's always like the rule of law that needs to be followed, I think, for some people in terms of
Hmm.
like how they understand these issues. Ben Kingsley character, they only like barely hinted at the fact that he was gay.
Yeah.
I'm just like, It's 2025, guys. Like we can talk about it.
It's
That's
clear how they established it. A lot of people there were of some kind of means. He's a
right.
former psychiatrist. Other guy's a former trade union leader. Of course, you got secret agent woman. You have a former long-term healthcare provider and a nurse, and also her daughter's in finance, that kind of thing. So this is something that, of course, is only helpful to those of a certain kind of means.
Yes, exactly. And again, especially with British media, it seems like that's a big thing that you could have tackled, which is class, because that's
Yeah,
a huge issue over there. I mean, it's a huge issue everywhere, but like especially over there. So
yeah.
like, but they were like, no, we're not gonna. It seems like they were
Surface
like,
level, surface level.
yeah, we're gonna tiptoe around some of these
Yeah.
issues, but we're not gonna get into it for
Yeah.
real.
With all the faults, like we've mentioned, like we could have expanded upon, like the class stuff, the slight racial stuff, because even my
Mm-hmm.
friend brought it up. Like we were on, she was like, I read the book and I can imagine some of them being black, but she was like, everybody here is white. The only
Mm.
only black person there is Jeffrey as a minister,
Oh yeah.
and he only shows up like 2 to 3 scenes.
Right.
And then Naomi Aki's character, but England also has their own racial issues, just like here. Like
Oh, deeply, yeah.
so,
That's what I'm
yeah,
saying. It's fertile ground to explore, and
yeah, yeah,
maybe Knives Out will do that.
yeah.
Third one's coming up.
Hmm.
I'm so excited. I
Yeah.
can't wait.
Did you like that clip? Well, you can listen to the entire podcast because the 16 millimeter Film Crew podcast is available on all major podcast platforms.